is Outnumbered. I'm Andrea Tanteros, and here with us today, Harris Faulkner, Sandra Smith, political commentator and national spokeswoman for the LIBRE Initiative, Rachel Campos-Duffy, and today's hashtag One Lucky Guy, my buddy from the Five and host of the Greg Gutfeld Show on Fox News. Greg Gutfeld is back, and you're outnumbered, Greg.
Oh, it feels great.
Really?
Yes. Can't you tell?
Now, the couch is far more comfortable than that black chair that you sit in on the Five. Do you feel comfy?
Yeah, but the problem is it's white, so I can make it very messy at any time. I prefer black.
Oh, my gosh. And all that body bronzer you have on your legs.
It's a lot of self-tanner on today. These are not pants.
Oh, I'm scared. All right. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Right. She says that her personal emails are her personal business, and that she's done nothing wrong. That's right, Hillary Clinton defiant in the face of tough questions from reporters, including our own Ed Henry, the Democratic frontrunner, brushing aside the controversy over whether her use of a private server while she was Secretary of State exposed state secrets, as investigators try to sort out what was classified and what wasn't. Clinton saying yesterday that we'd be having the same discussion even if she had used a government email account.
Everybody's acting like this is the first time it's ever happened. It happens all the time. And I can only tell you that the State Department has said over and over again, we disagree.
Everybody else is doing it, Ed Henry, so why can't I? Ed Henry, are all the cool kids doing this?
You're right. What's interesting is she was telling me there, that was in part of our long exchange, that, you know, look, this is routine. It happens all the time, as you say. Actually, you can say independently, objectively, no, it doesn't. I'm not aware of another cabinet secretary who had their own personal server at their house in New York or anywhere else. So that's the first part. That's not true. Secondly, remember her, if you bookend news conferences here, back in March at the United Nations, Hillary Clinton was saying flatly, there's no classified information in the server. Now, we know two inspectors general are saying there may be, and I underline may be, hundreds of emails with classified information. In her defense and fairness, she said there's no markings, that it was classified information, so she didn't know. That's raising questions about her judgment as Secretary of State, obviously, and whether or not she's telling the truth about whether it was marked or not, whether she knew it was classified or not. All of that is going to come out, obviously, in this FBI investigation. And so another key point I pressed her on was about this server. There are reports now that the FBI believes someone tried to wipe the server of all data, but they now think they can recover that data and may uncover what emails may have been deleted. Here's what she said. To wipe the whole server.
I'm not, you know, I have no idea. That's why we turned it over.
You said you were in charge of it. You were the official in charge. Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something? No. Well,
you know how it works digitally. Did you try to wipe the whole server?
I don't know how it works digitally at all. I do not have any.
You did not try.
Ed, I know you want to make a point, and I can just repeat what I have said. Thank you all very much.
This issue isn't going to go away for the remainder of your campaign.
Nobody talks to me about it, other than you guys.
So you can see that over the weekend she dismissed this as partisan politics. That's a harder case to make when it's an FBI investigation, not just a Republican investigation on the Hill. And then the second and final point is that Hillary Clinton, you saw over the weekend joking about Snapchat. I love it. The messages disappear, joking about this FBI investigation, basically. And she tried that again yesterday in the exchange with me, basically saying at this news conference, as you heard, I don't even know how to wipe a server. What do you take a towel? That's the kind of joke that may not resonate, not just with Republican critics, but Politico has a story up right now, new today, saying that there are Democratic campaign donors and strategists saying, why couldn't she answer that direct question? There's a lot of nervousness today in Democratic circles, guys.
Well, and I give you kudos because you're really the one that's pressing her on these tough questions. And you're right. I mean, her comedy shtick is bombing. It's not doing very well. Do you get the sense that there is panic within her camp?
Now, her campaign would reject the word panic. I think worry and concern would be fairer. They have certainly, I mean, I remember when I first started pressing on the email, and others, we should give credit, and the New York Times first broke this story months ago, and they were sort of very dismissive, as she still is, but even more dismissive, that it wasn't an issue at all. Now they're pushing back. She's having these news conferences. I mean, I will say in fairness to her, remember where we started a few months ago when I was chasing her around the country with others, and she went something like 28 days without taking a single question about the emails or the foundation or anything else. At least now she's facing the music. The problem is that when she faces the music, the answers are not really adding up. And that's not from me. That's from some of her allies who are sort of starting to almost scream out loud two things. One, what in the world is happening in the campaign? And number two, that's why we keep hearing this bubbling talk. Al Gore, Joe Biden, maybe Elizabeth Warren's going to be drafted, because Democrats don't no longer believe that she's invincible.
All right, you're right. The more she talks, the worse it seems to get. Ed Henry in Vegas, baby. Have fun. Thanks.
Good to see you.
All right, Greg. What did you think of her performance yesterday? Masterful or abysmal? I thought it was
unintentionally brilliant. It was fantastic. You know what? Her campaign slogan has to be, "What difference does it make?" When she walked away and her hands were in the air, what she was saying to America is, "This is beneath me. That you are asking me these questions, it's beneath me." And she should not use humor to diffuse a situation. That's like a fish trying to serve a tennis ball. It's bad, bad, bad. And also, she shouldn't be making jokes about wiping when you're hiding the server in a bathroom. All right, where does she keep if she's president, where is she going to keep the nuclear codes? In the vanity? In the medicine cabinet? She's in big trouble. She's in big trouble, and she's painted herself into a corner because she's already said it's no big deal. How do you apologize when you actually tell everybody that you don't care?
She doesn't plan to.
Well, Harris, Judge Napolitano was on Fox Business Channel, and he was outlining all the things that she's done wrong, from the way she handled the server to the way she turned over the information, and now, to Greg's point, to the way that she's trying to manage this. She's not been transparent at all, and the more she talks, the worse it gets.
All right. So you walk out, you have your hands out, you say, "What difference does it make anyway?" Sort of. You're in prison jumpsuit orange. Who is right? I'm just calling
You
it
are
like
not
I see
picking
it.
her color wheel, that is for sure.
Okay, I'm not picking the color wheel for this candidate, obviously. But you look at that, and you look at all the subliminal messages that are there. Somebody's in charge of messaging. You used to have that job on campaigns. Is there no one that she's listening to? With regard to the media, she had a huge missed opportunity with that first sit-down with CNN.
But some of her...
If that had been a hard-hitting interview with follow-ups, I mean, Breonna Keeler asked the questions. She just was more able to kind of handle her, if you will. If she had had that, she could have put this behind her, and that's what donors are likely thinking.
I had to watch the end of that clip twice, though. While we were all sitting here, we were all cringing, by the way. Every single time. I think I've seen it probably 6 or 7 times today. When she raised her hands up in the air and said, quote, "Nobody talks to me about it other than you guys." The first time I saw it, I thought she was speaking to Ed Henry and Fox News. But no, that question came from a competing network, one that would usually shield her from having to answer such questions. So she does not have the protection of the mainstream media that she once had. That is changing. The other thing, though, I do want to show the other side of this equation. We had a major Hillary supporter on the Fox Business Network this morning, John Mack. He's the former CEO and chairman of Morgan Stanley, one of the largest financial institutions in the world. He's made it very clear and apparent that he is a supporter of Hillary Clinton. When asked if his support is wavering at all in the midst of this email scandal, he said no, and he put it off as partisan politics, just like Hillary Clinton did just then. He is a major supporter and donor of the Hillary Clinton campaign. So you notice that how the big supporters and donors to her campaign are not wavering just yet. And I think that's important to point out, Andrea.
Well, there isn't a real threat on the left. But to your question, Harris, really, I mean, she was wearing the horizontal black and white stripes the other day. She's in orange. And you asked who's advising her? She has the shrewdest political advisor almost in the world, Bill Clinton, as her husband. And this has worked before, so you wonder who is advising her, Rachel, who's telling her what to say, because, look, it's worked for her in the past, but clearly she's not Bill Clinton when she's trying to deliver these lines.
And that's the problem. I mean, Bill Clinton can get away with this because he has a likability factor to it, and it's just not working for her. I think, you know, Trey Gowdy brought up, I think, an excellent point. It's just common sense. If you don't want people to see your yoga schedule, if you don't want people to see your wedding stuff, you push delete. Nobody on the planet goes through the trouble of wiping off a server. So it just defies credibility. But also, back to your point, it's more than what difference does it make. This is a woman who has put her own personal ambition ahead of national security. And in the case of Benghazi, which is what started this whole thing, she was spinning and coming up with the videotape story instead of putting that attention to saving these people's lives. That is really what this is about.
Greg, you have kept your yoga schedule private from me for years.
Hot yoga. It's hot yoga, Andrea.
I know, but that's all you'll tell me about it.
Well, if you want to see the videos, just go to my website. It's
downward dog.
hotyoga.org. I couldn't get the .com.
No, Greg, she used to be a very skilled politician back in the day. She was very, very good. I want to play Crowdhammer from last night on Special Report.
Is that a band?
Yeah, Crowdhammer the band. You never heard of them? They make a really good. They made a really good tune about
this. German metal band.
Yeah, listen.
I'm waiting for her to say, at this point, what difference does it make? Which is her standard answer. Look, when you think of this, it really enters the realm of farce. It's as if the answer to the punchline of a joke, the answer to it is in a closet, in a bathroom, in a loft in Denver. And the question is, where are the highest secrets of the State Department kept?
Greg, at least Richard Nixon looked America in the eye and said, I'm not a crook. She said, with a cloth?
Yeah, but the problem is, she's not prepared for this inquiry. It's like you'd think that she would at least be ready at this point when she's seeing this swirling around her. And the other thing is, who actually did wipe the server? It wasn't her. Like, she's not going to sit there and do 40,000. So somebody else did it. So that means they had the chance to actually go through these emails that perhaps they weren't allowed to see. Right. I think she's in big trouble. And whenever she talks, you know, she's like a DMV clerk who's laughing at the line she caused. She's looking out there and she's going, ha, 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 you think this is a problem, but I'm behind here. And I don't think she's that skillful. She's never been that likable, you know?
All roads lead to Huma.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't remotely presidential yesterday.
Well, she knows she has to keep it together till Iowa.
Very
That's where her dreams died last time. So she's going to try to get through Iowa. She thinks that she did well at the dinner joking about this. We'll see how it goes.
She's like an IKEA dresser, not put together well. It's all going to fall apart. I'm telling you, her campaign is falling apart. It's like they didn't put it together at the start. They should have They should have had a professional put it together. Because I
always hire the guys from IKEA.
Maybe it's the bad material of the dresser to begin
Good, because it causes divorces, you remember
You're right.
that?
Shell candidate on the verge of collapse. Another top Senate Democrat announcing that he's against the nuclear deal with Iran, why he won't vote for it, and whether the deal actually has a future. Plus, like his Republican rivals, Hillary may want to watch out for the Donald. Look at these new numbers and what they mean for both candidates. And right after the show, catch more from the couch on the web. Greg will not only tell you about his hot yoga classes, he will demonstrate them right here. FoxNews.com/outnumbered. Click the OT tab. Tweet us your questions, your comments. Tell us what you want us to talk more about.
Namaste.